Today on the show, we're going to talk about Game of Thrones, and I'm going to give you my top 5 favorite moments, and then my top 5 worst moments that were left out of the book for some reason. I don't know why. Moments. I have 4 books signed by George R.R. Martin. Let me tell you how much I love Game of Thrones. I read a lot, and the Song of Ice and Fire series is the best book series I've read, hands down. I love Game of Thrones so much that I had to get all gussied up in my Lannister finest to do this show today. I love Game of Thrones so much that I have a Lannister tattoo on my shoulder, and I got that shit before the TV series came out, okay? I'm original gangsta. I love Game of Thrones so much that I waited in line for hours to get some books signed by George R.R. Martin, and I am not a line waiterer. I hate that shit. So anyways, Game of Thrones is the best. I'm declaring it right now. No other show in the history of TV has ever attempted to adapt such a densely complicated, thoroughly intelligent, and utterly fascinating book series. It's an absolute game changer and a landmark in television history. So one of my favorite things about Game of Thrones is that when it first starts, there isn't any magic. It's a reality just like ours. There's shit and piss and blood and whatever. And then the dragons are born. And once the dragons are born, all the other magic starts creeping back, and we get to learn along with the characters in the series about all this fucked up shit that's going on, like wildfire and warlocks and faceless men. It's awesome. And then what's even better is like the tragedy that like all these people are fighting over Westeros for this throne, and it really doesn't mean shit because like the real threat is fucking coming. Winter is coming. The White Walkers are coming with it. And they have no clue, and it's great. So as complicated and awesome as you think this show is, the books are even more complicated and more awesome. You get so many things that you don't get in the show. It's crazy. It'll make your head spin. There's more insights, there's more stories, there's more side characters, there's more plots and twists and turns, and more descriptions of food and their clothes. A lot of descriptions. You get to know more about the thoughts of all the characters, and you really get a more in-depth look at their personalities and their world. Spoiler alert. This is for people who have watched the entirety of season 2 of Game of Thrones, and also people who've read up to Clash of Kings in the book series. And if you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? You're ruining one of the best franchises ever for yourself. You're an idiot. You need to get the fuck out because I don't want to mess it up for you. So now we're gonna talk about my top 5 most awesome favorite moments from season 2 Game of Thrones. Number 5.
Stannis lands on the shores of King's Landing. I'll ride out to greet him.
A brave choice, Your Grace. I'm sure your men will line up behind you.
They say Stannis never smiles. I'll give him a red smile from ear to ear.
That little Jack Gleeson better watch out, because someone's gonna punch him in his squishy little face in real life because he plays such a convincing little turd, okay? We all hate Joffrey, and the part where he's telling Varys and Tyrion how he's gonna give his Uncle Stannis a red smile with his little teenage posturing is so funny. I laughed so hard on that one. I had to play it over and over. He's such a little asshole. It's great and awful. Number 4.
1, 2, 3.
Brienne of Tarth is my girl. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love that bitch. And when she made short work of 3 men in under a minute in the season finale, it was so gratifying. And the guy who plays Jaime did a perfect job. The look of shock and awe on his face when he sees Brienne fuck those guys up is great. And I cannot wait to see them next season. I can't wait. They're like my favorite odd couple. Number 3.
Jaqen is dead. Say it again. Vala Morghulis.
Vala Morghulis.
Good.
What a badass Jaqen H'ghar is. He's one of the coolest characters in the books, and the show did not disappoint. That actor nailed his weirdo Free City speech, and he looked the part. He was perfect. And the part where Arya gets him to kill Armory Lorch before he can get to Tywin is super badass. Not to mention, in the finale, the reveal of what like being a faceless man means. It was so awesome. I'm sure people who haven't read the books like shit their pants. I almost didn't. I knew what was coming. So Good job, man. Number 2.
Are most girls more interested in the pretty maidens from the songs? Jonquil, flowers in her hair.
Most girls are idiots.
Where did you learn all this stuff?
From my father.
He was a well-read stonemason.
Have you met many stonemasons, my lord?
Careful now, girl. I enjoy you, but be careful.
I love Tywin and Arya's relationship. Even though it's not in the books, it's great. First of all, it makes Tywin look like less of an asshole. In the books, he's like never nice to anybody. But in the show, I think it makes him a little bit more realistic. I love how amused Tywin is with Arya's wit. It's so cute. It's really charming how well they get along together. And I find it really interesting that Arya comes to kind of respect him even though she's sworn to kill him. It's like in another world if like she was his granddaughter, like they would have been like BFFs or something. Tywin and Arya are total frenemies. It's not in the books at all. They've totally added it into the show, but it's great. I love the change. And the scene where they're having this banter and Arya kind of gives him a little verbal jab and he says like, I like you, but be careful. Like that was so cute. I love it. Tywin ends up being like that guy who's like a really shitty dad to his kids, but then he mellowed out later and became like a cool grandparent or something. I think it makes him more realistic and it validates Arya's badassness. Number 1.
Love to see you, Father.
Any last words, old man? God's help you, Theon Greyjoy. Now you are truly lost.
Please don't. I'll do anything, please. No, please stop it.
Man, that scene where Theon decides to cut off Roderick's head to show his little Ironborn buddies how fucking hard he is so great. It is my favorite scene in the whole deal. When Sir Roderick says, you are truly lost after this. You know, it's so true. It's so true because he is. That marks the beginning of the end for Theon Greyjoy. It's fantastic. And the part where it takes 4 or 5 chops for him to like get the head off and he has to like fucking kick it too to like get it to come, like, oh my God, that was so brutal. He's such a fuck up. Oh, Theon, what are you doing? If I had read the books before I had found my cat, I would have named her fucking Daenerys Targaryen, hands down.
Dragon Kitty.
Oh man, and that ending shot from season 2 where you have all the White Walkers and you really get to see them for the first time was great. Those guys looked amazing. I wasn't even expecting them to look that good. Whoever designed those needs to get far more props because these people don't get enough fucking props, okay? Zombies are played out. I'm saying it. Bacon, zombies, I don't give a fuck about that shit anymore, okay? I get it, okay? It's not a lifestyle, okay? Pirates too, fuck you, Johnny Depp and your fucking pirates. Zombies are played out, but these zombies are awesome. I was thrilled to see them. They looked fantastic. That guy on the horse, like, I'm not even a big CG person, but that guy looked great. Good job. I don't even want to lump White Walkers in with zombies because zombies have become so lame. I feel like it's insulting to call White Walkers zombies. Bacon and zombies. I get it. What are they gonna have, bacon covered zombies next? Get the fuck out of here. So now let's talk about my top 5 super bummer moments from season 2 of Game of Thrones. Number 5.
It melts wood, stone, even steel. And of course, flesh.
Wildfire.
Steer clear! Steer clear!
Despite the whole wildfire scene being epic as fuck in the Blackwater episode, and I'm talking, it's badass, I was sad that one little detail was left out. This is something that was in the book, and I really wish that it was in the show. Tyrion knows that shit's getting ready to go south and that Stannis is gonna sail on King's Landing, and he's gotta figure out some strategies. So he commissions this giant chain, okay? When Stannis' fleet goes into the Blackwater, they pull the chain up, and it bars any retreat that they have, and then they start dumping all the wildfire on them and burning their asses just right into the water. And there's no way to retreat for those guys. And it really shows Tyrion's mad strategy skills, and fuck man, I just really wanted to see it, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to see that. Number 4.
I will kill that horn-blowing cunt before I fall.
They want you to know you're surrounded.
I know I'm surrounded.
They don't want you to sleep. They want to sap your spirit before
Thank you, wise, bold man. Thank you for explaining siege tactics.
So who's blowing that horn? I'm gonna tell you who it is. It's Ramsay Snow, the Bastard of Bolton. This is a really cool character that was cut out of the show. He's there, but he's only mentioned. Bolton is one of Robb's retainers. He has the flayed man for a sigil because they're like a whole fucked up family where they like to skin people alive and shit. Yeah, and I'm so bummed that they don't have this character in there because the Bastard of Bolton is a fucked up guy. He'll torture you. He's awful. You do not want to get in that guy's clutches. And they never show him. They never go on about how awful he is. And so you don't know in the end when Theon gets knocked out by his own men, who will presumably give him up to the Bastard of Bolton, what a terrible fate that is for Theon. I mean, I want Theon to get his, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I want anyone to be in the clutches of Ramsay Snow. That fucking sucks. Number 3.
Joffrey. Cersei, Aiden Payne. The Hound. Joffrey, Cersei, Aiden Payne.
Awesome missing scene from the book. Arya stages a soup coup when she gets Jaqen to get Rorge Biter to help him bring this big old pot of soup down to the dungeons, dump it on the jailers, free all the Northmen out of the dungeon, who then stage a rebellion and take Harrenhal for the Northmen. They called the soup Weasel Soup after her because her name was Weasel at that point, and it's so epic and so much fun. Totally awesome. Weasel Soup. It's amazing. They even start going like, oh, be careful, she'll give you a taste of her weasel soup. It's fucking hilarious. Anyways, I wish they'd had it in the show. Whatever. Number 2.
We could end this war in a fortnight.
So this scene is not dramatic enough by far. It's much cooler in the book because Renly's shadow that's being cast on the wall draws a sword while Renly's just standing there, and then like he says he feels cold and all of a sudden there's a fucking sword thing through his throat, and Caitlyn and Brienne are losing their minds, and it wasn't like that at all in the show. It wasn't as dramatic. It wasn't there, and I was really disappointed. Right. It seemed really underplayed. I mean, you think if you saw a shadow creature stab someone through the neck, you'd be a little more freaked out? I know I would. I'd fucking run. Number 1. Man, let's talk about a scene I was looking forward to all season. When Daenerys goes to the House of the Undying. In the book, I can't even do it justice. It's so amazing. You should just read it. It's like from page 700 to like 707 in the Clash of Kings book. It's badass. Go read it. Way cooler than they did it in the show. In the show, you just get some BS Khal Drogo thing, and then you just get some BS Snowy whatever. In the book, you get all these prophecies, all these premonitions, or like all psychedelic. She's on hallucinogens. It's surreal. It's super, super awesome. And the show just was totally weak in comparison. What I really want to say is Jorah Mormont is a hot piece of older dude ass, okay? Daenerys Targaryen is the luckiest girl across the narrow seas, okay? First she gets with Khal Drogo, holy shit. And then she has Jorah Mormont running after her. I would totes McTotes that guy. Ian Glenn, just letting you know if you're out there. So, the book series isn't even finished. They're making these seasons of Game of Thrones faster than the books are being put out. The series isn't finished. I don't understand why they feel the need to put so much in 10 episodes and just put them out year after year. They can slow down. They should totally make 20 episodes in a season. Why don't they? I feel like they're gonna run out of episodes to make, and they're gonna realize that they could have spent more time in Qarth rather than just push them through and get them out as fast as possible. In conclusion, my only real criticism of this whole show is that I wish it had more money and more time to make more episodes. A lot of the problems that I just talked about could have been fixed if they had just had more time to develop all these storylines more smoothly. They should have like 20 episodes per season, or like 13, or at least like a 2-hour premiere and a 2-hour finale or something, anything. Give me more. You can't do 1,000 pages of a novel in 10 episodes. That's crazy, and that's what they're doing. I know that this is wishful thinking. I understand that they can't take more time because they need to get it out every year. To get this out, they have really a month to do one episode. It takes them about a year. I get it. That's not a lot of time, and they're doing amazing with what little time they have, and they do have a decent budget, but I wish they could have more money because they're awesome and they deserve it. But In a perfect world, they would be able to make 20 episodes per season, and I would just be in heaven. Game of Thrones Season 2 is only available on HBO Go, which you can only get if you have HBO, which you can only get if you have cable, which you can only get if you have money. Which makes it really hard for us poors to watch our favorite show. And, you know, it doesn't leave us with a lot of options. So maybe people might turn to things like, illegally downloading it. Not that I do that or that you do that or that anybody online does that. That's crazy. I mean, I don't want a virus. You could get a virus from doing that. You could ruin your computer. I wish HBO would get with it and make it to where I could download Game of Thrones just from online and pay them just to watch that show, or pay them just to have HBO online that I can deal with. And what's the deal with these DVDs that come out like a year later? I mean, I know they gotta put all this extra stuff in it, and I'm glad that they do that. But seriously, I wish that it would be out for Christmas so I could have a nice little Christmas present waiting for me under the tree, and after Christmas we could watch it all day and whatever.
19!
You know, I mean,
19!
Wait, what? What?
Come here!
What is wrong, robot?
I don't feel so good.
What's wrong? What did you do? What did you do?
I downloaded Game of Thrones to my floppy and I got a virus.
I knew it. I warned you. I warned you. You didn't listen to me. And you know what? I don't even feel sorry for you.
But you know what, 19?
What's that, robot?
It was worth it.
I know. So if you love this show as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like my Facebook page, and start following my ass on Twitter at CBGirl19. My friend made me this super rad Hand of the Kingpin. Check it. I think he might be making a few more to sell to Game of Thrones geeks, and if that's the sort of thing you're interested in, email him at ptkprops@gmail.com. Game of Thrones has inspired some really great art. Even I've done Game of Thrones fan art. Anyways, we've featured some really great artists that I like a lot, and if you want to see more of their work, check in the description for links.